Okay, hello everyone. This is just a sharing on Jardine Matheson Holdings, which I'm thinking about getting into. It's sort of like a conglomerate kind of company. It's like Berkshire Hathaway. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It owns 100% in some companies and partial stake in some other companies that are listed, like Hong Kong Land is listed, Jardine Cycle Carriage is listed. Right, so I think it's something like Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, right? So he owns 100% of Jardine Pacific, right? So it's like this company that's involved in a lot of things: engineering, construction, aviation, transport, restaurants. Hong Kong Land is a property developer. Jardine Motors, I think. I'm not sure why it's just motors, but yeah, it's basically automotive business in China and Southeast Asia and UK. Yeah, and DFI Retail Group, alright, Mandarin Oriental, which is hotel chain, Astra, which is this again a diversified business group in Indonesia, alright, and Jardine Cycle and Carriage, which is more familiar in Singapore. Right, so we have a look at gross revenue. Alright, so gross revenue increased by 5%, alright, revenue increased by 5%. Underlying profit before tax has gotten better by 20%. Attributable to shareholders increased by 5%. Profit attributable to shareholders is what is really scary, dropped by 81%. Hopefully we can figure out why this is so later. Right, so this 1.8 this 1,800 million to 345 million. Yeah, it dropped by 81%, right? So you can see that the group is trying to use underlying profit to measure the performance of the business rather than profit attributable to shareholders, because sometimes this can be skewed by one-off impairments. Hopefully you can find out why later. Some good news is dividends per share increase, which shows that even though earnings drop by a lot, actually the management seems confident in the business. Right, so these are some things that were mentioned in the annual report that I pulled out. Alright, so they say that things have gotten better. Alright, Southeast Asia, Astra and Jardine Cycle and Carriage has done well. Okay, the drag on the business actually comes from Hong Kong and China because of pandemic restrictions. Hopefully this gets better over the long run. Right, and of course Southeast Asia is poised to grow in the near future, so this is the hopeful part, and hopefully China and Hong Kong, if they recover, it will help with whatever is going on over there. Right, so yeah, you can see he discusses net profit improving. Basically the drag is from Hong Kong Land, DFI, and there's slight decline in the motor part. Right, yeah, so dividends have improved, that's great. Okay, this I believe is the reason for why the net profit has dropped so much. So if you see here, fair value losses from revaluation of investment properties, right? So this is already about 900 million, right? With impairment losses of associates of 300. So it's so it's about 1,200 million, right? So if we look in the front, it's about 1,200 million difference between this number and this number. Sorry, this number and this number. Yeah, it's about there, right? So the reason for this value being so much higher than this is because of fair value losses, which means to say the property is the same, but because of macroeconomic conditions, they just have to revalue it to a lesser amount. So this is not really the company's problem lah, it's the macroeconomic problem. But of course, if it goes on in the long run, it will then affect the valuation of the company, right? So they are quite optimistic, it seems, right? Which because Hong Kong and China, if they recover after the pandemic, and of course Southeast Asia's growth. Right, so with that, I'll end this part 1 of Jardine Matheson's review. Please remember, this is not financial advice. Alright, yeah, and please check in with, I'm not a financial professional, so please check in with a financial professional if you want to do any form of investment.